Let me ask you something real. What happens to your faith when you're no longer in control? Not when life is hard, but when the system itself is stacked against you. When speaking truth costs you safety. When obedience costs you comfort. When silence would be easier. That's where the book of Daniel begins. Daniel is not written in freedom. It's written in exile. A foreign land, a foreign language, a foreign culture, a foreign system of power. Daniel and his friends are taken young. Not because they were weak, because they were gifted. Empires don't destroy talent. They absorb it. Babylon doesn't try to erase Daniel violently. It does something smarter. It educates him, renames him, promotes him, rewards him. This book understands something dangerous. Oppression doesn't always look like chains. Sometimes it looks like opportunity. Daniel is offered comfort, status, security, influence. All he has to do is blend in. Not rebel, not protest, just compromise quietly. And that's the first test. Not lions, not fire, food, identity, boundaries. Daniel chooses a quiet resistance. He doesn't attack the system. He refuses to let the system reshape his soul. That's wisdom. Here's what makes Daniel powerful. He's respectful, intelligent, competent, but non-negotiable where it matters. The book shows something important. Faith is not loud rebellion. It's consistent alignment. Daniel and his friends are tested publicly. The pressure increases. Bow or burn. Worship power or lose everything. The fiery furnace scene is not about bravery. It's about clarity. They say, even if God doesn't rescue us, we won't compromise. That's mature faith, not outcome-based, value-based. And notice this, God doesn't always remove people from fire. Sometimes he joins them in it. That changes how you read suffering. As the book continues, Daniel rises in power. But power doesn't soften the system. It hardens it. Kings become more arrogant. Egos grow. Empires believe they're eternal. Daniel interprets dreams. And dreams expose something terrifying. Empires fall. Every one of them. No matter how strong they look. Daniel stands before kings and tells them uncomfortable truth. Not angrily. Not arrogantly. Calmly. Honestly. That takes courage. Because truth spoken near power is always dangerous. Then comes another famous moment. The lion's den. Daniel isn't punished for crime. He's punished for consistency. That's important. Daniel doesn't protest loudly. He doesn't hide either. He keeps praying. Same habit. Same rhythm. That quiet faith threatens fragile power. The lion's den story teaches this. Integrity doesn't always protect you from danger, but it defines who you are inside it. God rescues Daniel, but that's not the main point. The point is, Daniel never adjusted his values to fit the room he was in. As the book progresses, the tone changes. The second half of Daniel becomes symbolic. Dreams, visions, beasts, time. This isn't confusion. It's perspective. Daniel sees history differently. Empires rise. Empires fall. Power shifts. But faithfulness remains. These visions aren't meant to create fear. They're meant to create distance. Distance from panic. Distance from obsession with power. Daniel understands something rare. You don't need to control history to remain faithful inside it. This book teaches restraint. Daniel doesn't start revolutions. He survives regimes. And survives with integrity. That matters for modern life. Because many people don't live under open persecution. They live under subtle pressure. Pressure to conform. Pressure to stay quiet. Pressure to compromise slowly. Daniel shows another way. Excellence without ego. Faith without theatrics. Loyalty without violence. One of the deepest lessons of Daniel is patience. Promises don't fulfill instantly. Justice doesn't arrive immediately. Truth often waits. Daniel ages. He doesn't see everything resolved. Some visions remain unanswered. That's hard. But Daniel doesn't quit. He remains faithful without closure. That's spiritual adulthood. Daniel teaches that faith is not about winning arguments. It's about remaining grounded when everything around you shifts. If Ezekiel reprograms trauma survivors, Daniel trains resilient believers inside hostile systems. This book matters today because people work in environments that don't share their values. People feel pressured to trade integrity for advancement. People fear being different. Daniel shows that you can succeed without surrendering your soul. He also shows something humbling. God doesn't need your power. He honors your faithfulness. Daniel doesn't end with celebration. It ends with waiting. Go your way. God tells him, "Live faithfully. The rest will unfold." That's the final wisdom. You don't need to see the whole plan. You need to live a line today. If you've ever thought, "I'm surrounded by pressure. I'm tired of pretending. I don't know how to stay faithful here," Daniel understands you. He doesn't give shortcuts. He gives courage. And that courage isn't loud. It's steady. The book of Daniel is not about predicting dates. It's about remaining yourself when the world asks you to be someone else. Empires fall. Values remain. That's Daniel. Quiet. Unshakable. Necessary.